Trees. Vital for the continued survival of our species on this planet, and appearing in many different forms. To the average person, telling some trees apart can be difficult, especially when it comes to their leaves, or lack thereof. What this video is meant to do is to give you a basic understanding of how to narrow down what type of tree you're trying to identify, and to point out a couple different features of trees that can be used to determine the tree species. Are you ready? Let's go. Regardless of what part of the world you live in, the first step in determining any tree is to look at what type of material is extending off of its branches. If the material is extremely thin and pointed at the end, then you're looking at a needle, and a tree that is part of a large group of trees called coniferous trees. These trees keep their needles all year round, easily distinguishing them from other trees in the wintertime. There are many different types of coniferous trees, also called conifers or pines, including the eastern red cedar, commonly found across most of the eastern and midwestern United States, the bald cypress found in southeastern swamps, and a variant of which is Mexico's national tree, and lodgepole pine trees, typical of the Rocky Mountain region of the US and Canada. So let's say that you decide the tree you're trying to identify doesn't have needles, and instead has full-on leaves. These are the deciduous trees that lose their leaves in the fall and grow them back each spring. With deciduous trees, we have to get a little bit more specific with how the leaves are placed on a branch to determine what kind of tree it is. The first question we want to ask in regards to deciduous trees are how are the leaves arranged on the branch of the tree. This is more easily seen in the spring, summer, and fall when leaves are present, but we'll discuss other ways to identify trees in a little bit. Two of the main leaf placements are opposite and alternate arrangements. Opposite arrangement has the leaves positioned directly across from each other on the branch, while alternate arrangement has leaves in alternating positions all along the branch. Once you've determined the arrangement of the leaves, you'll have to figure out one other key thing, the leaf structure, and then you can start to look at more specific species or groups of trees. Leaf structure is different from leaf arrangement, mostly due to the fact that leaf structure looks at how many leaflets are coming off of a single bud on a tree. Again, two types of structures are common among trees: simple and compound structures. Simple structure has only one leaf extending from its bud, while compound has multiple leaves per bud. Within the compound structure, we must further split the categories into pinnately and palmately compound. Pinnately means the leaves extend in a straight line away from the bud, while palmately compound leaves spread out like the palm of a hand. The two most common trees in North America that are palmately compound are the buckeye tree family and the horse chestnut. If you see palmately compound leaves, you've just gotten a lot closer to figuring out what tree you're looking at. But we've gone several layers deep into deciduous trees, so let's back up a little bit and look into some more broad combinations of arrangement and structure that can help us identify specific groups of trees. An easy acronym that identifies some of the most common trees with opposite leaf arrangement is MAD-BUCK. M for the maple trees, A for the ash trees, D for the dogwood trees, and BUCK for buckeye trees. Horse chestnuts are also opposite. There are several variations across North America for all of these trees, but some of the most recognizable in this category would be the sugar maple, the leaf featured on the Canadian flag and the national tree of Canada, the flowering dogwood, which has an iconic 4-petal flower in the spring, and the silver maple, a skinnier variant of maple with sharper edges than the sugar maple. Having gotten the major opposite trees out of the way, we can now turn our attention to the other major leaf arrangement, the alternate trees. The most common types of alternately arranged trees are the oaks, which happen to be the national tree of the United States, which have simple leaf structure, and hickories, which have compound leaf structure. The black walnut is also another alternate compound tree. Oaks can be separated into, you guessed it, two main types, red and white oaks. Red oaks tend to have pointed edges, while white oaks exhibit more rounded ones. Finally, we have the hickories, and this is where we take a quick look at some identifying features of trees beyond the leaves. Besides leaves, trees can also be identified by bark, flowers, like the flowering dogwood, fruit, and nuts. Acorns would be a good example of a nut identifier. In this case, trees with acorns are oaks. The shagbark hickory is one such tree in which the bark may come more in handy than the leaves. The bark peels off the tree in thin strips, and oftentimes you don't even have to touch the tree to see the bark peeling off. Other iconic barks include the hackberry with its warty bark, and birch trees with white bark. Two last trees that are really outliers in terms of distinct direct classification, but have outstanding features, are the American sycamore and sweetgum trees. Sycamores look like large maple leaves, but be warned they are not in the same family, and sweetgums also look somewhat similar in shape to maple leaves and drop spiky gumball fruits. And there you have it. All of this info should give you a fairly solid starting point when it comes to identifying the trees around you. Let us know in the comments if we missed any major North American trees or tree families. As you can tell, this video focused on the North American continent, but there are plenty of amazing trees around the world as well. Check the description below for a detailed tree ID chart, And until next time, this has been RIC Adventures covering the basics of tree identification. See ya!